Hi guys, how are you?
Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. What's happening? How are we doing today?
Hey, good.
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 Oh, you can't see me.
There you
What
are.
happened? There you are.
Hello. What's going
Hi, Miss Ashland.
Hi, Isaiah. How are you?
Where's the video?
We have a small group today. That's what I do for when I tell you, whenever I try to put something even remotely healthy, my attendance numbers go down. That's okay. It's fun when it's a small group, so.
Yeah, it's okay.
So we are gonna make quiche today. Quiche
That sounds good to me.
eggs. So I'm gonna put you guys on mute, but at any point in time, please unmute yourselves if you have questions or need me to repeat something. I wish I could have a unmute all option, but they don't do that on Zoom. Well, if there is, I don't know how to do it. So we're gonna make a crustless quiche today. A lot of times quiches are baked eggs with things mixed in them in like a shell, like a pastry shell, but we're just gonna make an easy crustless quiche today. You can also call it maybe like a mini frittata. Frittata is even more fun to say. Frittata. So we can get started. We're gonna prepare everything, then we're gonna put it all together before we bake it. So if you haven't set your ovens to 350, we'll preheat at 350 so you guys can just pop them right in the oven after you're done. And they only take about 20 minutes. So they'll be done in no time. But we're gonna get started with the most fun part, and that is the egg part. So we get to crack some eggs together. And parents, I encourage you to let the kids do it. Sometimes, if they haven't cracked before, have them do it in a separate bowl. You may need to remove some shells. That's all right. Sometimes in our classes, actually, when I would do this at Piccadilly, I would have the eggs I needed cracked, and I would give them eggs to practice cracking into, and they just drop the shells right into the bowl with their eggs. It's a good way to just practice how to do it. But we can do the eggs together. And the thing is, the tricky part about the egg is that you don't want to be too wimpy when you put it on the side of the bowl to crack it, but you also don't want to smash it because then that would be a disaster. It could be a big mess. I actually did a video on YouTube. You guys might want to look at it. It's pretty funny. It's what would happen if you smash it. It's a mess. So you're going to take your egg and you're going to find the long part of it. It's kind of a long way and a short way. We want to crack it on the long way, and you want to crack it just enough until you hear it crack. Once you hear it crack, you're going to see that there's a little crack in there. And that's where we want to find it with our fingers and open it up. Now our fingers are going to be messy. That's okay. And you don't want to squeeze the egg. Once you find your hole, we want to open it up like we're opening a book. And it might crash. Allie, I saw you do it. It was perfect. And it may get in your face like some got in Freddie's face. But once you open it up, then you're going to drop the egg out. And I'm going to put my shell, because we're not going to eat the shells. I'm going to put my shell off to the side. And we've got another egg too. So we don't want to do too lightly. And parents, you can help the kids by maybe holding their hand while you guys crack it together. But if you do it too lightly, nothing's going to happen. You want to do it till you hear the sound of it cracking. And then we're going to open it up like a book. So I opened it up. Good job, guys. Great job. And you might need a napkin to wipe your hands. This is the messiest part of the dish. We can also take some of that milk that I gave you. Actually, it's pre-measured. You can pretty much put all of it in there. But we're going to put the milk in with our eggs. And then you're going to whisk. So if you have a whisk or a fork, I think I forgot to put this on the list of what to have ready. But you want to take a fork or a whisk and stir it really quickly. Now when I do my fork here, and I'm going to change my view because we're recording this for someone so they can see me. Let's see. Okay. So once you have your eggs and your milk in there, you're gonna quickly, I use my fork this way, not like I'm stabbing to eat. I use the back of my fork. Or if you have a whisk, you're gonna kind of do it the same way. And we're whisking because we wanna break up all that egg and mix it around. That's it. We can add some salt and pepper. Couple twists of salt. Salt or so. And I like a lot of pepper in my eggs, but you can decide what you like. Also, that's the good part of being a chef. We can add what we want. Now we have our eggs ready, but we're gonna set those aside because we're gonna put things into our eggs later before we bake them. So I'll wait till everybody's ready. And we're gonna start on our veggies. So you guys got a couple different types of pepper. We'll start with that. So I have a red pepper. Go ahead.
Iris wanted to tell you something.
What?
You want to tell it?
What do you want to tell me, Iris?
I'm going to take out the seeds.
She said she knows how to take out the seeds.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. You can take out the seeds. That's awesome. Well, I put those seeds in there for you because I wanted you guys to see what the inside of a pepper looks like. So I cut it apart and I sent you some pieces. I sent you some pieces of this red pepper and I sent you a piece of the orange pepper, but I left the seeds on that orange pepper so you could see what the little seeds look like inside of a pepper. And we don't really eat these seeds, but you could even try to plant these. I don't know if planted seeds from the grocery store will work, but could be something you want to try as an experiment. But we're going to take these seeds out just like what Iris is doing because we don't want to eat the seeds. And you see, you might have even part of the green stem on top in the section that you have. But we want to cut our veggies today in really small pieces. So we're going to get our knives. And it's easier when you're cutting. First of all, make sure you're on a cutting board or a plate because we don't want to cut straight onto a table unless you have like a butcher block table. But you're going to cut into small pieces. And I usually cut with the back of the pepper, the outside of the pepper down because it's softer on the inside. And depending on what kind of knife you're using, you might need to go back and forth. You're going to kind of saw it down. And parents, even like a butter knife that's serrated or something for new cutters, that'll work on this just fine. So you want to make sure you're pressing down. We want to hold our pepper down, and you're going to use your knife to saw down a piece. And you want to make sure you keep your fingers away from it. And definitely, we don't lick our knives. We want to keep our tongues around, don't we? They're very useful. They taste things. They help us talk. If we don't have tongue, we talk like this. That's no fun. So we're going to cut our pieces of pepper and red pepper. Now, this is a good time to taste our peppers too. You have orange and red. And see if they taste differently. Try one. See what you think. Try a red pepper. See what you think. Those have lots of vitamin C for our bodies. They help keep us healthy. Did you know a red pepper is just a really ripe green pepper? It stays on the vine a little bit longer and it gets sweeter. And it actually has more vitamin C in it for us than the green ones do. So do your best in cutting. You make sure you want to saw it and push down at the same time. And I cut mine into strips, and then I'll cut mine across into little tiny cubes. And because what we're making today, now obviously you can use more milk or eggs if you've got them. We're gonna make about 3 little mini quiches today. So we don't need that many veggies. Keep some and have some later. You could eat, these are good dipped in hummus, these peppers. Who likes the peppers? I see a lot of you eating them already. Raise your hand if you like them. And it's okay if you don't like them, but you definitely have to try them. You always have to have a taste of what you're making because you need to know what you're putting in your food. And even if you don't like it, at least you try it. Sometimes you'll realize that you actually love it. So now that we have our pieces cut, we can set those off to the side because we've got a few more veggies to work with. I've got these little trees. What are these little trees? Anybody know? I bet you do. Are they actually trees? Wow. These are broccoli. So we're gonna cut our broccoli into pieces. Now you can also use your fingers. I like, for the mini quiches, I use less of the stem and I use more of the top part. And you can even use your fingers and break off some pieces too, if the cutting is a bit much. Sometimes it's easier to do it this way. Or I kind of go along the top right where they're coming to the stem. And I'll use that and then I break them up. So the less stem you have, it's easier to break up into pieces. But you can use your fingers and break them into little pieces. Definitely taste one of the broccoli as well. Broccoli tastes really good, either raw or cooked. Same with the peppers. And your body's gonna thank you. Because the broccoli is making your bones strong. And for those of you who haven't done veggies in my class before, it does make you jump higher. When you eat your vegetables, at the end of class, we're gonna have to check. Make sure you have a bite of your veggies and your body's gonna say, oh my goodness, I feel healthier. I feel stronger. I'm sure I can jump higher. And it's just because we were so nice to our bodies and we're eating all these vegetables. So who likes the broccoli? This is called raw broccoli. This means it's not cooked. Who likes the raw broccoli? Raise your hand if you like it. Ooh, Isaiah likes it. Awesome. Oh, and Iris, yeah. You like it? Now, the thing is you'll try these after we put them and cook them, and they might even taste different. They might taste a little sweeter, and they'll be softer after they go into the quiche. And just like with the peppers, I gave you much more than you need. So even one of your pieces of broccoli might work. Or if you're eating the rest, just go ahead and eat the rest. We won't need a lot. Our last veggie that we have are these things. Did you know you could even eat these things? Looks like big pieces of grass or something, doesn't it? These are called green onions. And you can eat all of the green onion. A lot of times people will cook with the bottom part, the lighter color, and they'll put the darker part on top, but we'll cut them into pieces. This is another one we can rip with our hands as well if we want to. If we want to rip it apart into pieces, or we can use our knives to cut into little strips. And you can smell it. And you can even taste a little bit, because some onions can be a bit strong, but these are really nice to cook with because they're pretty mild, but they add some flavor. And like I said, you can cut some of the green. You can go down into the thicker part where it's a little bit lighter. We can cut some of that part. And we'll be putting it into our quiches also. This will add some nice flavor. The dark green part is the part where it's real easy to pull apart with your fingers. So we've got our green onion, we've got our broccoli, we've got our red pepper. Now, if there's other vegetables that you like, this is something that you can throw pretty much anything into. A lot of people like to put mushrooms in, or spinach, or if you eat meat and you have some ham at home, you could throw some pieces of ham inside, or turkey. These have a lot of different options for you, things that you can do with your quiches. And we'll be able to experiment if you want, because we're going to make 3 different quiches, so you can decide what you want to put in each one. You can put everything into one. You can put just broccoli into one. We can decide what we want to do. And then we'll also be putting our cheese in there as well. So let's start compiling it all together. I've got a muffin tin, and I sprayed it already. That just helps it from not sticking. If you have silicone muffin liners, those could work. I've tried paper liners before and they just stick. So I would either just use a greased pan, or probably the silicone liners would work also. But we'll take, and parents, you might need to help with this part, but we're gonna pour our eggs, maybe 3/4 full or so, maybe a little bit more, into our muffin tins. And it pretty much evens out to about 3. We haven't put anything in them yet. It just still has, it's just the eggs and the milk and the salt and pepper. And we've got our cut veggies now on the side, and we also have our cheese that we're gonna mix in a minute. So now this is where we can decide what we want to put into our tins. And you can probably use the fork that you whisked with, or just grab a fork or spoon, and we'll mix in our veggies once we decide what we want to put in. So you can pick, let me just make sure I'm on camera here. I'm gonna put everything into one. And you just want to put, like, you know, a little pinch of each. These aren't very big, so we don't need to jam pack them with everything. And I kind of mix those around so that they're all under. Or if you want just broccoli in one. You can also decide which cheese you would like to have. So I gave you guys 2 different cheeses. One is probably one that you're very familiar with, and that's a cheddar cheese. That's the yellow stuff. And the other one is a block of feta cheese. We always say feta is better at our house, but you can try both of them. Feta has a very strong flavor. And I gave you a chunk of it because you'll crush it with your fingers, and you can pull little pieces out and make little feta crumbles. I love to have feta in salads. That's really tasty, but I also love it in my quiches or my frittatas. So taste them. And you might think the feta is very strong flavor, but once you put it into your quiche, you'll notice that it bakes up really nicely and just adds a nice little, it's got a little salt in it, or it tastes a little salty. So it'll add some nice salt and flavor. The cheddar cheese is also good too. I probably would use 1 cheese for one type and 1 cheese for another, unless you want to make a real cheesy quiche. And put your veggies in. The other thing I like about all these vegetables in this quiche is that it's so colorful and pretty.
Would you like some of yours?
Yeah.
Egg muffin with a 50-50 egg cheese ratio.
Well, you know what? It will taste so good.
Very good, buddy.
We'll take about 20 minutes.
Oh,
Don't do that.
yeah.
But you like
For me, it took 20 minutes for them to bake.
3 minutes.
And
Okay.
you know what? I got them out of the tins almost immediately because I didn't want them to continue baking because I don't love it when on the sides.
Not yet.
So
Okay, get back up there.
you'll notice that they'll puff up a lot in the oven. They'll
Yeah.
puff up quite a bit, and when you take them out, they'll flatten back down. That's supposed to happen. So they'll get really puffy, and then after you take them out, once they cool a little bit, they'll come down. So don't be worried. That means they're still cooked all the way. They still will taste
Mhm.
amazing.
More broccoli.
Yeah.
So hey, thank you so much for doing the class with me.
Oh, look. You want to say goodbye?
Welcome.
Maybe that's fine.
Bye.
See you next time.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye guys. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Okay, let's try to get
Thank you.